Good afternoon, Metro Deep Board. This is Benzel Jimerson here. Just wanted to make sure that we circled back around and that you all had the information necessary from last month's meeting to be able to come into this month's meetings informed. We've been through a wild season in terms of the elections and just kind of the gravity and the weight that was happening in Denver. We have four students from East High School who are on our who are interns with us right now. And we know the month that they had prior to spring break. I mean, just to have a shooting of an administrator and a program leader, and then to have a student die behind that, looks like an apparent suicide. And then, that all happening a month after a student was shot in the parking lot in the head and then passed away 2 weeks later. So all this happening, within a month and then 2 weeks and then 2 weeks, to the date. On top of everything else happening around the world, just some heavy things, there for certain. When we look at, the results of the election and what that ended up being and looking like inside of our community, I think that also speaks volumes, right? So there's a lot of kind of heavy stuff, right? That's happening in the world around us, and truly, a what this looks like from an economic standpoint are all things that really are kind of heavily inside of our focus. And so, those are just things. But then there's like a lot of, what we've been through since November of last year, right? And where we're coming to. And there's also just, at the, where we're at now, I think some really, really exciting things happening. And I also believe that we are sitting in a place where we have an opportunity to do exactly what we have set out to do, which in many ways has happened through the partnerships, has happened through the execution, has happened through our agreements, like our execution, our programming. We've done a really good job, especially on the shoestring that we've been operating on and the limited staff, hours that we've been operating on and around. And so I just think that those are important things to point out, because we've done well in a extremely kind of crazy world, interest rates rising, and all the stuff, right? The inflation, the price of food. I mean, there's just a lot going on. So let me jump into the update from here, and I'm just going to go right down the list. In approval of minutes, that can be done via email, as long as we have that quota inside of their old business. There was the gala sponsorship packet that you can find at www.metrodeep.com/gala. There's also EEC. EEC cost us about, gracious, I'm trying to remember the exact number, but cost us about $850, I believe, somewhere close to there, if not closer to like 1,000 or 1,300. So please do forgive me on that I did not have exact numbers there. But recovering $1,500 from EEC, I know, is something that would be very important. Special shout out to Rin, who was there the entire time, and helped us from setup all the way through shutdown. And so that was major, right? To have that type of support. Those are hours that we would ask Rin to log. And, I want us to figure out, maybe that happens through Sienna, but I definitely want us to figure out some kind of a system that allows us to track the hours. I can think of at least 20 hours that Brittany has put into the website and just kind of other functions inside of here. And so I really want to make sure those hours are captured. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we talk about board development process. So that's for EEC. Recovering $1,500 somehow would be really great. Obviously, the money is already spent and gone, came out of our LLC account. And so, if we don't, we don't. I think the easiest and biggest way to do it in the old business that we had to talk about, right, last month was our gala, right? And we have not seen outside of and I want to be careful in my words here because I don't know what's in the works for people. But we haven't seen one yet come in from a board member perspective, or really anyone outside of Simone and I, the work that we've done. We are currently sitting at, and I apologize for this pause, but we have confirmed sponsors of First Bank. Sorry, I'm going to mark these. Honeybee Collective, which is a cannabis company. City of Denver. The First Bank is $2,500. Honeybee Collective is $1,000. City of Denver is going to end up being really like an excellent sponsor. Based on the investment of space and food. And so we're going to extend them an excellent sponsor, which is the second level at $15,000. Zim Consulting is a Harmony level. African Leadership Group is getting a tribal. We have IF Foundation that's just buying some individual tickets. They possibly were going to come in as sponsors. Dito, we're still waiting from Javon's company. We had heard something about diverse talent. We had heard something about Palo Alto Software is still out there. New Community Transformation Fund has come in as a leadership sponsor, which is at the $10,000 level. So that's what we have in right now. And I believe maybe one or two others came in that I don't have recorded right now. So we're sitting at a decent place, right? At a decent place. Certainly we can do better. So there is that. Any and all help that we can get at this point, which means direct communications, critically important. Thank you. And I'll move through the rest of this a little bit faster. I want to make sure that we keep these always to 15 minutes and no more than 15 minutes so that we can get you in, out, and on your way, but also that you have the information that you need. So we had a quarterly planning meeting on March 17th. What we got done is like kind of all the way through the strategic plan. What still needs to be done is we still need to pretty it up. We still need to really kind of dig into what the space plan is going to look like. Space plan is going to be important because it is going to be the kind of the foundation of our sustainability revenue development there. And so we're looking at a warehouse. We are looking at the 30 acres on Colfax and Buckley. We are looking at office space in Aurora. Continuing the office space in Northfield is kind of the only non-revenue producing, although we have done five events there now that have come through us and many more coming. So that could actually turn into a revenue developing space as well. And then we still will continue to kind of explore what does that look like in 5 Points, and then what does that look like in Montbello? What does that look like in Colorado Springs? In terms of finance committee, which kind of goes well into the space stuff, and especially for Colorado Springs, right? We have talked about the loss of Urban Central Marketplace, although that is the very, very strong possibility of kind of like continuing relationship. The important part is that we are now entering into a growth work now contract grant, excuse me. So as long as we win, right, or as long as they win that process, excuse me, which it looks like absolutely they are going to. We're kind of written in as the core partner, right? So we would do 3 different programs a year, training wise, including recruitment for like solar installers and electricians and all of that kind of thing. That would happen 3 times a year in Colorado Springs. They would also have us as kind of the primary recruiters and pipeline developers here in the Denver area. And so the renewable energy industry in space is really building out. We also have a $50,000 application that we are turning into work now for a planning grant. That planning grant would essentially kind of make us, as we're on a growth grant underneath somebody else, and then a planning grant with us. We have to make a distinction, right? And so it's kind of like Grid Alternatives, who's the partner at the growth level. They would really be responsible for kind of building out the programming and execution parts of this. They're experts there, right? We would provide a trainer, we'd provide outreach, we would provide space and time in the springs. And then just kind of some other general like pipeline development. What does this actual pipeline look like over the next couple of weeks? So, or I'm sorry, over the next 3 years. So that's a 3-year grant. We also have the $200,000 from Colorado Health Foundation and the $20,000 from Rose. Both of those ready to go in. We have $50,000 coming in and all of the portions complete from Colorado Center on Law and Policy. And we also have several like applications in. I know one is like from the state and the Economic Development Organization. That's a $45,000 one. We have in a $7,500 one to the Reparations Fund. We are going into a second round, I believe, of BRIC. All in all, and then we're also getting ready to apply for the McKinsey Scott dollars. So really kind of major there. We're looking honestly to be positioned at like at a level of about a $500,000 a year organization by the end of the year. Now, there is a possibility in 3 different places for some transformational funding to occur. Think that's really important. The Political Advisory Committee, Josh and I really need to get together. We'll see in terms of like other board members that are going to be recruited and people that we want to see there. But that has lost some fizzle, and I think that there's some really clear from this last election that what we had really gone for in the past, I think is really critically important to start building that infrastructure out strongly and really build into this next election cycle as well as the next cycle there. I did do for Jennifer Bacon's bill. I did some testifying that went really, really well. And so, that's going to be another source of funding for us, and we'll see as long as that gets passed into law. I will pull up the number and we'll talk about that probably in the next meeting, and I'll make sure that bill number is there. Gala committee, we need sponsors. We need sponsors. We need sponsors. We need marketing. We need stuff out. We need help. That's the bottom line. If we can get help from anybody and everybody here, that's going to be, that's going to be the best thing. Vendors, I'd really like to have 10 more vendors as well. We did get, we are in the final stages. So here in 2 hours, we'll be meeting with Hadanu Collective, and we'll be finalizing that fiscal sponsor agreement. It'll be $10,000 for the first year, $8,000 a year after that. We have accountants, Minerva will be handling all of the nonprofit. Biz Financial Management or Carla Vaughn, who we've had, will be handling the for-profit side. And then we are putting together taxes kind of all the way around right now. The 1065 we are getting put in there as well. Last thing that we really have is the board development process. You know, the names that I'm putting forward are Quan, Atlas, Rico, who is Carl Bourgeois' brother, Barry Overton, Von Zell Sawyer, Cleo Lewis, and that, you know, really looking at, like, I think that we need to have every board member raising $5,000 a year, whether that comes through a sponsorship, a grant, but something that every board member brings to us, so that we have some engagement happening in our community, within our community, and our board is really spreading like our message and understanding how to do so, and leaning on us in some kind of a way. In addition to a $5,000 contribution, either through direct time, in some kind of a way that we are recording with our secretary, and or like a personal contribution in some sort, either through directly through a company that you work for, or an in kind. I'm sorry, yeah, in kind actual work through a company that you're directly connected to, or from your personal monies. And so I just think that, in having both a working board and an income producing board, it's critical. I know that I have sucked. We're right back to a place where we can be on a level and have the support necessary in terms of hiring. And I know we're coming up on 17 minutes, but hiring, what we've decided to do is contract out those director, finance, and other like marketing, finance, admin. We do have an administrative assistant now that's been awesome, really, to have. But the hiring that we're going to be doing is at least one economic mobility manager in each of our three core areas. So youth development, career workforce development, entrepreneurial development, and really giving them some lead, the the road maps, but like really letting them kind of build out. Thinking that we really will need two in each of those places at a very minimum here very, very soon. So that's, what we are most focused on in terms of the dollars both we're raising. And I think, one vision that's really come out is like fully self-sustainable by 2025 as an organization, which I know is a little bit ludicrous. If we get some of that transformational funding, it is possible. If we do not get that funding, then we will be transformational funding. It's going to take us until 2027 to build to that fully self-sustainable organization. And why is that? Because it's going to take us till 2025 to get to a full operational budget where we can do actually what's in the strategic plan. We're also really looking forward to August. We're going to be able to be far more effective than we've ever been in the future, or in the past, in terms of like what that is going to turn into. I also really want to make sure that we have a great gala. So sorry for the delay in this coming. So sorry for just kind of being semi scattered. I think, but we come closer and closer and closer into like a really solid kind of place. We look forward to continuing to work with each of you, and really figuring out what does that look like. Those are absolute conversations that need to be happening in between now and not this month's meeting, but certainly next month's meeting. How are we going to be most effective with each other, right? So appreciate each and every one of you. Talk soon. Bye.